Hello, everybody. Welcome to StraightA. Dawson here.
Treythan here, finally making my return.
Finally, and we're here making our return for the conference round of the playoffs. Of course, just the two of us, because Braden and Taylor said their piece. Ryan and Braden. Well, I guess Ryan is more of a school teacher nowadays, so whatever. He's doing his own thing. So Treythan and I are gonna 1v1 this. I guess 1v1. I don't know if it's really 1v1 more than it is like a cooperative effort. I
One
guess
on one.
one on
One on.
one. Either way, we're here with the conference round. But before we get started, please remember to leave a like on the video and leave a comment down below of any suggestions for the channel, and subscribe if you haven't already. But in terms of the conference round, or in terms of the divisional and wild card round, do you have anything to kind of overall recap your feelings about it, Treythan?
Starting off with, I guess we'll start off with the wild card. We'll start off with the NFC. Eagles, in the fashion that I thought they would, gets beat by the Bucks. I thought they were looking good at the beginning of the season. I'm pretty sure that I even predicted them to go back to the Super Bowl, but about 3/4 of the way through the season, we found out how fraudulent they were, and so I wasn't expecting much. But I wasn't expecting them to get beat by the Bucks, especially like that. Rams Lions game. I mean, fantastic game. What else is there to say? It was kind of slow at the beginning, but they picked it up. Green Bay and Cowboys. I mean, that was a super high scoring game. It was a good game. And then going over, I watched the Texans Cleveland game. I was kind of disappointed. I was kind of wanting the Browns to win. I was wanting Joe Flacco to be able to play the Ravens, but they didn't. Miami, KC. I've been rooting for Miami so hard this season, and they failed me. And then there's not really much to talk about with the Bills and Steelers. Steelers, I don't even know how they make the playoffs every year, but
Happens. Dark magic.
yeah, they're like the Iowa Hawkeyes. Like, they have terrible offense, but their defense just carries them to a 10-2 record in a Big Ten conference matchup.
Mm-hmm. What about the divisional?
Divisional, again, I watched the Lions. I'm kind of falling in love with the Lions. I think everybody is at this point. Everybody loves the Lions, because they've been so bad. Pretty much, they've been bad my entire life. There was a couple years with Matthew Stafford that they looked good, but could never complete it together. Megatron and Stafford, that was a good connection. It was a decent game. I think the Bucks had every chance to win it, and they didn't. Which like I said, I'm excited about because I'm cheering for the Lions. San Fran and Green Bay was also a pretty good game. I watched a little bit of it, watched a lot of the highlights. Go into a game that wasn't that good. It was good in the first half, but the Ravens and Texans, me and my friend were talking about it. He said it was going to be a blowout. I said I think the over under was 9.5, and I thought the Texans would cover the spread. And the first half, I was like, yeah, I got this. I think they will cover the spread. And then after that, it was not close. And then KC Bills, I mean, it's every year at this point, apparently, where Josh Allen and the Bills have a good team, and then, in the playoffs in heartbreaking fashion. But I did see something where every team that has beat the Bills has lost in the next round. So going to my conference matchups, I guess,
Yeah.
I got to go with the Ravens just because, I mean, since 2019, any team that has beat the Bills was then eliminated in the next round.
Wow, I really didn't know
or
that.
lost the Super Bowl. Yep.
That's actually kind of nuts, though. The Bills just have that they put their curse upon somebody else. Like, if you're gonna beat them, you're gonna get the curse as well. So I mean, that's.
I think 2019 it was the Texans, and they lost. I think it was, what was that, the big comeback at halftime? They were up 24-0. I think.
Yeah.
Was that 2019?
Well, 2019 is like the season before I started really watching again. So I'm trying to recall from back then, but so I couldn't really tell you.
And then 2020, I believe, was when the Bills lost to the Chiefs, and the Chiefs lost to the Bengals in the AFC Championship. And then 21, the Chiefs lost the Super Bowl, or maybe I got those flipped. But yeah, I did get flipped. Yeah. But yeah, it's weird. Every team that beats the Bills in the playoffs then goes to lose the next round. So that's why I'm going with the Ravens. Plus, the Ravens look fantastic. They have this whole season. Like I've seen a lot of people say, if Lamar Jackson ever wants to win a Super Bowl, this is his year. This is his year to prove the haters wrong. And what better way to do that been a quarterback that has pretty much dominated you. Like every time they match up, I mean, usually I think the Ravens have won once, but I think Lamar's record is 1-3 against Patrick. But this Chiefs team's just not as good. I don't want to say they've been lucky. They're not the Chiefs that we've known the past 3 years, 4 years.
Mm-hmm. No, I'd agree with you on that one. I mean, the Chiefs, through hell or high water, everybody doubted the Chiefs, including me. I'm not gonna, this season I'm talking about.
Oh, I did too.
So I'm not gonna sit here and say, "Oh, I told you so" or anything like that. But the Chiefs have proved us wrong. I just hope we don't see it again. Just because they have a dynasty, we understand their team's going to be right back at it at 12-5, 13-4 next year. We get it. This is a down year though, so let's not make the Super Bowl. Let's have somebody else, something new, something exciting. And if you kind of go in here and look at this, kind of give a preamble to the NFC a little bit. You got 4 matchups. You got either Chiefs 49ers, which is a rematch from a couple of years ago. It'd be cool, I guess, but we've seen it before. You have Chiefs Lions. I'm not gonna lie, people have kind of sold me on that matchup a little bit more because it's the game that started the year versus the game that ends the year. So I'm bought into it a little bit more. Plus the Lions would make it in that case, so I respect that. But then now you get the exciting part of Ravens Lions. I think that's the matchup everybody wants because you see. I saw a map on Instagram or something where it's like all the states that are cheering for the Ravens. And it's everything.
And it was literally the states. Yeah, it was literally the states of their home teams and then division rivals that were cheering for the other teams. That's it.
Exactly. In the same case with the Lions, like everybody's rooting for everybody's rooting for San Francisco is just the state of California, and then everybody's rooting for the Lions.
Like Wisconsin, Minnesota, stuff like that. Illinois.
I've seen Packer fans, I've seen everybody like in that whole division basically rally behind the Lions too. Like everybody hates San Fran apparently more than they hate the Lions. So it just goes to show how likable Dan Campbell and all that is. Plus, it's just a good story, man.
It's a fantastic story. A terrible franchise that hadn't won in what was it 25 years? It had been since Barry Sanders.
33 years.
3 years since the last playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, Dan Campbell's just such a likable guy. Seems like such a genuine guy, a great coach. Seems like he has a great mentality with the players. The players love him. And then the team, Jared Goff, shipped off from LA because, wasn't doing that good. He's completely rebuilt his career. Not to mention they got Hendon Hooker on the team, which, all the Tennessee people like. They're just a real likable team, especially. And I think that's going to happen when, you have a franchise that's so bad and they're finally good. Mm-hmm. It's just nice to see that a team that, I grew up with being the worst overall team in Madden. I don't remember Madden it was, but I think they had a 67 overall rating. Mm-hmm. And which Madden used to be a lot more strict with their ratings than they are now. But growing up, and best because you've been doing the Madden videos. Mm-hmm. But just seeing a team that's so bad that you grew up that you never knew a Detroit Lions fan. They're always, 0-16, 1-15, 2-14. They've just always been bad. To see them actually succeeding is just everybody loves that. It's a great story.
No, I fully agree. And a good question to pose is that back in a few years ago or a couple of years ago now, during the trade for Matthew Stafford for the Rams, of course everybody saw that Rams won that trade. If the Lions win the Super Bowl this year, heck, even if they make the Super Bowl, I'll be honest with you, I think there's no doubt. I think the Lions win that trade. Looking back,
100%.
Because then, in the eyes of the Lions, for one, Jared Goff I don't think is that bad. But if you put that aside and say he's a downgrade, you slightly downgraded, built amazing players behind it, and made yourself the first Super Bowl in franchise history. If the Lions win this conference game, because they've never won a conference game, they've made it to the conference game before.
Yes,
never won.
I think they made it twice, haven't they?
Maybe so.
Never won it.
I know it's at least once, but maybe twice. At least my memory goes about 40 years, and that's it. So the fact that they just make it is just franchise history, and obviously you should win it at that point. But it's just amazing, and people will be looking at that trade okay, yeah, Rams definitely, I guess, kind of had the edge for that trade, but who really?
Because the Rams, all they got was Matthew Stafford, right? And the picks. Lions got. Yeah, the Lions got Jared Goff and 2 picks. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a fantastic trade if Jared Goff. I mean, even right now, I would consider them when the Rams won the Super Bowl, they thought the trade was the best thing to happen.
Yeah. Which, in fairness,
and I still think Rams have a point there. They won the Super Bowl. That's what they were trying to do. But I think you can also look at it and see that, hey, the Lion. I think both teams could claim they've won the trade, and I think both teams have a perfect I mean, you could argue either way.
It'd be so cool to see if the Rams and Lions both won Super Bowls within a couple of years of making that trade. It just
Yeah,
shows the how good it is. Beside the point, I guess we're
different.
getting off track, but
Yeah, a little bit.
but finish up the thoughts with the Ravens Chiefs. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes, but Lamar Jackson, I've really grown to respect him. He's a great player, and I'll be honest, I don't know how. And this is not me doubting Lamar Jackson's career. This is me doubting how long he can keep up the run game for as long, like, because I mean, just shows history shows that
I
scrambling
mean, yeah,
quarterbacks don't make it much
Michael
in their
Vick.
30s. Yeah, Michael Vick's like the one exception that he's kind of good in his 30s. I think. Yeah. Um,
Because yeah, I went and watched him play when he played for the Eagles. Yeah, he
exactly.
was still he could still run a little bit.
But otherwise, you don't really see many scrambling quarterbacks or like even improviser type quarterbacks. Like Patrick Mahomes even slowed down a little bit, not a
Hmm.
whole lot, but you can see he's not. He's
Russell
maneuverable.
Wilson's a big one for improvisers.
Yep. I mean, you see how. I mean, sure, he probably was still good around 31, 32, but then 33. Actually, he's 33 now, isn't he? Yeah. So it's like actually late 20s really that he started dropping off a little bit. So I want him to win this now because he is good enough to win it now, and I'm not.
Hmm.
I worry about his abilities in the future. So
The fatigue that the league brings.
exactly. So I agree with you. I do think the Ravens are going to win. Genuinely, even if I'm looking at this unbiased, I want the Ravens to win. But I think that the Ravens are the better team. They're ready for it. It's at home for them. And the Chiefs again are just kind of battered and bruised a little bit. They're still got a lot of growing pains. They had two. They had one great game against the Bills. I'll give them that. They had a pretty damn good game, especially Travis Kelsey. But that was one great game, and a lot of games they haven't performed well at. So in terms of the NFC side, man, this is the most heartbreaking thing in the world because if I'm going to sit here and tell you what the actual result's going to be, it's going to be the one that breaks people's hearts because the fourth matchup I don't think we mentioned would be the Ravens 49ers, which would be the whole script coming on loose after the logo gets basically shown. Oh, hey, here you go. Here's the colors of the teams, which is the one I don't want to happen. Period. But if I'm looking at this and being honest with myself, I think the 49ers are the better team. It's home field advantage. The only piece that would maybe mess that up is if Brock Purdy messes up again, if he gets pressured a lot from the D line of the Lions, which is very good, and the pass rush from the Lions. And plus the Lions, I think rush defense is very good, so they can keep Christian McCaffrey under a little bit. But their secondary for the Lions is just not very good. When you're facing off against George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, and Debo Samuel, even if it's Brock Purdy throwing the ball, it's hard to say the Lions have a very easy path to victory unless their offense can keep up. And the defense of the 49ers isn't easy. They also have a weaker secondary, but if I'm telling you who I'm picking, it's the 49ers, but I'm rallying behind the Lions. I don't care how wrong I am in picking the 49ers. I'm rallying behind that Lions team right now. But they also have the capabilities. I want to clarify that. I think some people do kind of doubt the defense of the Lions. They have been playing amazing ball in the playoffs. They have played amazing ball. It hasn't been perfect, of course, but they have been playing the best defense they have had all season. It's been high scoring games, but it's been more gritty games, like people going for field goals rather than just touchdown after touchdown. So I have a lot of faith in the Lions here, but this is also their first road game of the playoffs. So we'll see. Plus the offense every now and then has a hiccup. So and we haven't seen that yet in this playoff season yet. So we'll see, but I'll be rallying behind it. I know they're selling out Ford Field to watch the game, so that's awesome to see. What are your thoughts?
I completely agree. I do think the 49ers are the favorite, but I do think Dan Campbell is 100% preaching against A, the run, and B, those screen passes. That's what everybody jokes about with San Fran. Everyone says Brock Purdy can't throw it downfield. He can, but when you have CMC, Debo Samuel, all those guys that can turn nothing into something, the screen passes are the things you got to watch out for. And I do believe Dan Campbell's 100% covering that, working on coverages, working on assignments with his cornerbacks, his safeties when the safety needs to come down to cover that, all that. So, yes, I think the 49ers are the favorite, but I do think the Lions stand a great chance.
All right, I got two questions for you for an over under here. Now this is a fun over under. This isn't an actual over under. Over under 1.5 fourth down attempts by the Lions.
Over.
I'm about to say I've almost made it 2.5, but I feel like that's also an easy under because I feel like 2 is a good number that they're going to go for. Now,
They did what? Three against the Bucks? Was it three?
was it three? I really don't remember the four.
I know they did two,
You're right. No, they did
but I can't
two.
remember if it was three.
I can't remember the third one if they did. I'm trying to remember watching the game because that's one of the games I watched. I can't remember. All right, 2 point conversions. Over under 0.5.
See, that one's really hard because that's a lot more situational because, you don't just go for 2 point conversions to go for 2 point conversions. Usually it's either if the score is dire, like you need to score now, you need those extra points, or if it's a close game, you're down by four,
Mm-hmm.
or you're down by five, I mean, and then you want to go for two to make it a 3 point game.
Mm-hmm.
But with it being the Lions and with Dan Campbell being the analytics guy that he is and being the man with just massive cojones, I say over.
I'm about to say because I expect this game because I think the Buccaneers. I think they play the fourth downs were smart plays when they did it. I don't think any of
I
them were
agree.
ballsy. I think, like for example, when the Lions faced off against the Cowboys, the 2 point conversion they did at by the end of it was crazy for them to do. Dan Campbell shouldn't have done it. I get that they were determined to do it, but it was stupid. And there was
They
also,
did get robbed of that game, though.
and I think it was the Thanksgiving game. I can't remember who they played, and they did. Yeah, you're right. In the Thanksgiving game, they also went for two stupid fourth down conversions that were not situated. They didn't need to. They just were going to do it just to kind of just assert themselves. I can't remember who they faced on Thanksgiving, to be honest with you. But either way, I expect smarter fourth down plays for them, but also it's the 49ers. Lions have been I think the Lions have been on even playing field with every team they've played so far. Arguably, they're going in here as decent underdogs. I actually don't know the over-under for this game. I'll try to see if I can find that. But they're going in as underdogs, definitely.
Yes.
So you kind of have to go for some fourth downs eventually, even if it's maybe right at midfield or something like that. It's going to be interesting in that case.
I agree.
Let's see if I can find my FanDuel app here. But otherwise, which Super Bowl do you think? Now, not the one. This is a good question. Not the one that I think everybody wants to see, like the Ravens Lions. Which game do you think would be the closest in the Super Bowl? And which matchup of the four?
Ravens Niners.
Ravens Niners.
I think would be the closest. I think it would honestly go down to the fourth quarter.
Interesting. Okay. Now, so you think that's the best Super Bowl for people to watch if it happened, right?
I don't know.
Game wise, not
As far as best Super Bowl to watch, I honestly think it would be Ravens Lions because they played in the regular season. The Lions got absolutely destroyed. I believe it was 35-3, 35-7, something along those lines.
-7, by the way. 49ers are favorites.
Really?
That's big.
But I do think the most exciting because the Lions would want that revenge that the Ravens beat them in the regular season. I think they took the number 2 seed away from them, or were the Lions the Cowboys were. I think when the Ravens was like one of the reasons they didn't get the number 2 seed. Which that wouldn't have mattered. They still played all their games at home anyway, except for the NFC, and that wouldn't matter because they're playing San Fran.
Yeah.
But still, I think there's that thing of they beat the crap out of us. It was embarrassing. I want to get back at them, beat them in the biggest sporting event in the United States. Mm-hmm. And so I think that would be the most exciting, most enjoying matchup, which is the matchup fans want. But I still think the Ravens beating the Lions so bad adds that extra, determination from the Lions to not let that happen again and make it a good game. But as far as the closest game, I do think that would be the Ravens in San Fran. Because, you got a fantastic Ravens offense against a good San Fran defense. Mm-hmm. And then you got a good San Fran offense against a decent Ravens defense. The problem with the Ravens is their secondary. Their secondary, I think I looked it up the other day, ranked 23rd in yards allowed, I believe it was. And so I do think the Ravens secondary is kind of their weakness. And I think whoever wins the NFC game will definitely be looking out for that. I think the Chiefs are definitely looking out for that. Mm-hmm. So I do think that that's the biggest Ravens weakness there is.
No, that's fair. I think that's a good observation there. I worry that if we do get our Ravens Lions Super Bowl, I feel like we've been spoiled the last couple of years of 2 good Super Bowls because last year's Super Bowl is probably among one of the best in terms of game by game, 38-35, high scoring, close game, beat for beat. That's what you got. And now you also had the Bengals Rams, which was a little bit more gritty, but it was close. It was still neck and neck, the more defensive based, but still a lot of fun there. The game before that, of
And it
course, was Bucks
was the Tampa
Chiefs.
Bay blowout. Yeah.
So I feel like we're almost due for like a game that's not exciting, and it's more like one team's clearly going to win, and that's what I worry about for the Ravens Lions game if it does happen. I don't think it. I hope it doesn't, but I just worry that we're almost due for it. I guess. Um, Also, I was going to look real quick about the defense, the secondary yards allowed here, and see what teams. Because I mean, I thought the Chiefs didn't have a very good secondary, but I see that actually the Chiefs and the Ravens are about top 10 in terms of
Oh, they are.
passing
What did I
yards.
see?
I'm not too sure. Passing yards allowed, it looks like, and then you look at the Lions; they're near the bottom. They're bottom four, and then you got 49ers. They are somewhere in the middle, closer top. 49ers are about 18th, 19th in terms of passing yards allowed. I don't know if there was something else you missed or there's something else that happened. Just because I was curious, because I didn't think any of these secondaries were very good, but I guess the Chiefs have been pretty gritty and their pass rush is pretty good, so it puts a lot of pressure. In terms of rushing yards allowed, I'll look at that as well. See if 49ers are number one. Or sorry, that was in order of alphabetical. The Lions have the second best pass rush in the whole league, and the 49ers have the third. Or the rushing defense is what I meant. That the rushing yards allowed by the Lions this season was 1509, while the 49ers are 1525. And the Chiefs are near the about middle of the pack, and then you got the Ravens also about middle of the pack, but slightly higher than the Chiefs. So
I don't know what I was seeing because I thought it said that the I don't know what stat it must have been then.
I'm not too sure. I was just kind of curious because I saw. Again, I know the Lions don't have the best secondary defense, but apparently it's not. It's been probably better, and the 49ers probably have been okay too. So either way,
Oh, it was. It was okay. It was completion percentage against a defense.
gotcha.
The Ravens were 26. Okay,
Gotcha.
that's what I.
Well, fair enough then, at least. Either way, hopefully these are games are shootouts and fun games to watch, and hopefully the Super Bowl is also very entertaining. Either way, though. But any final thoughts kind of going out of this video?
Uh, Other than I want to see a Ravens Lions rematch for the Super Bowl. Nothing really.
Go Lions, go! That's my comment for the day. Thank you all for watching. If you did enjoy, again, leave a comment or of suggestions for the video and leave a like down below. See you guys later. StraightA.